Hello everyone and welcome to our Week 10 battle in the IBL. This week, the New York Empoleons, which are back over 500 for the first time since Week 1, are taking on the Pittsburgh Huge Powers and Rio. If you have not seen them, go check out his channel. Link is, as always, in the description below. I always say that, and I always actually do encourage you to do that. I am not the only PokeTuber, I am not the best PokeTuber, and I encourage you guys to make sure you get your variety of people so you know what you like, and you know that I am the one you actually want to watch. Anyway, his team is terrifying, absolutely terrifying. Mega Lopunny, Zygarde 50%, Jirachi, Vaporeon, Rotom-Mow, Torkoal, Victreebel, Comfey, Minior, Oricorio, any of the Oricorio forms, and Regice. Zygarde 50% is his only eligible Z user, so we do have a little bit of non-variety to worry about there, which is okay, but that doesn't mean that I'm less afraid of it. It's absolutely horrifying, and he could easily run Scarf. He may not even have to if he has E-Speed. And let's be honest, a Z Outrage or a Z 1000 Arrows is going to hurt a lot. Not much on my team loves the idea of taking that. Now, we are hopefully going to be able to counter what he's bringing. So I will show you guys what I've got right here, starting off with our Choice Scarfed Terrakion, which does outspeed a +1 Zygarde after a Dragon Dance, which is really important. And Close Combat's doing about 50% to a non-bulky Zygarde, so that's where we're looking with that. We also do have Scarf Rocks. I do want my Rocks up this week. I do think the damage on Minior, Torkoal, Oricorio, Regice is really valuable. Honestly, I know the Mega Lopunny switches in, I know the Zygarde switches in without much damage, but Chip is Chip, and Rocks are vital this week to my strategy. So I expect him to have Defog, and I expect him to have Spin on Torkoal, and I need to have the Rocks up late game. So you'll see hazard stacking is really important, despite his team having a good number of options to remove those hazards. Close Combat, Stone Edge, and Earthquake covers a huge portion of his team. Between the Zygarde 50% obviously not taking super effective damage, and I believe the Victreebel is the other thing that doesn't take super effective damage, and the Comfey obviously, but thought about running Poison Jab, but really opted for those Rocks. I think they're going to be really important this week. Next up we have Ferrothorn. It's the reason that I'm not too scared of Comfey. Comfey really doesn't hit this Ferrothorn very hard at all. I went physically defensive to handle Mega Lopunny, to handle Zygarde, to handle a physical Victreebel, and to handle a physical Minior. Gyro Ball handles pretty much all of those options when they are at their maximum potential. Gyro Ball is a 2 KO on a +1 Zygarde, 2 KO on a Mega Lopunny, and then if you can factor in the Iron Barb's damage for the Mega Lopunny, it's really not going to have a great day. I have the Chople Berry to take a high jump kick. I only take about 50% from that first high jump kick, which is amazing. Toxic is there for the majority of his team. It doesn't hit the Minior if it's got shields up, and it doesn't hit the Jirachi, but like a huge majority of his team does get affected by Toxic, and a lot of his normal switch-ins like Torkoal do not appreciate getting Toxiced by a Ferrothorn. Rotom-Mow could be another possible switch into this, and again, Toxic is going to help me wear that down. Obviously, Jirachi does not take anything from Toxic, but really, without Fire Punch, doesn't do much back to me, and if it is Fire Punch, then we can play around that. We have other options. This also has Stealth Rocks and Spikes as well to just make sure that I am getting those hazards up. This sets up against just about everything not named Torkoal and Mega Lopunny, and it can even set up one layer of like Stealth Rocks or one layer of Spikes, depending on what I value at that time in the matchup, against a Mega Lopunny because of the fact that it has the Chople Berry. Next up we have Rotom. Rotom is going to be rocking Electrium Z with Volt Switch. There's a couple times, I had a bunch of different items on this, including Shuka-Berry for the 1000 Arrows, including Leftovers for a little bit of bulk, including Fiurium Z for the Overheat, to not take the special attack drop, but I opted to go for Electrium Z because there were more times that I wanted my Rotom in against whatever he was switching in that I was pretty sure was coming in, and I didn't want to Volt Switch out. Then I wanted to not have the special attack drop with the Overheat, so I decided to go with Electrium Z. That way I can really just nuke Vaporeon. I can hit something like the Torkoal much harder, and the Minior does not want to take a Z electric attack. I have Hidden Power Ice on here for the Zygarde. I do probably outspeed most variants of it. Hopefully, I can't obviously outspeed all of them because it is base higher speed than I am, but Timid with a good amount of speed to help me whittle down any of his major threats and handle some of his Pokemon. And I'm going to have Will-O-Wisp on here as well for a potential switch into something like the Zygarde to take a Will-O-Wisp. Zygarde, Victreebel, do not want to be Will-O-Wisped. I thought about Toxic for the Vaporeon. I have Toxic on other things for the Vaporeon and stuff, but I decided not to go there. I decided to go with Will-O-Wisp on this set for really the Zygarde if it decides to be the switch into a Rotom Heat. Now, next up we have Xatu with Assault Vest, Psychic U-Turn, Heat Wave, and Dazzling Gleam. Really designed to counter Oricorio, Special Victory Bell, decently check Torkoal, take a hit from Rotom Mow, stop Vaporeon if it's not invested. Special Jirachi does not really handle this as well. So opted to go with a little bit more defensive investment. I have enough speed to outspeed and Victory Bell outside of Sun, but otherwise it was really hard to like EV this. I didn't know if I wanted to go max speed for the Zygarde, opted not to, opted to go Modest instead. Dazzling Gleam's going to do a lot. Hidden Power Ice would have done more, but Dazzling Gleam just allowed me to not have Hidden Power EVs or IVs, and I probably should have gone Hidden Power Ice, but it's okay. U-Turn is there for general usage. This thing can force switches pretty well against things like the Torkoal, against things like Mega Lopunny in case I'm Scarfed. So this thing can definitely force some switches. U-Turn is going to be really good for me to gain momentum, and I think that this Xatu can put in a lot of work this week. It always seems to put in more work than I expect it to. It's, again, a decent check to things like Torkoal that want to set up rocks, or Jirachi potentially, that want to set up rocks, and then it has Heat Wave or Psychic or whatever. So hitting Torkoal on that special side is much better, and hitting Jirachi with a Heat Wave is decent, and then you can maybe burn it. Next up, we have Altina, the Mega Altaria, coming back this week. Dragon Dance, Body Slam, Earthquake, and Roost. A bunch of speed, just enough speed to at +1 outspeed a Mega Lopunny. And then Body Slam is going to hit a huge portion of the team. Earthquake's going to hit basically the rest. Rotom Mow does not mind this Mega Altaria that much if it is defensive. But if it burns me, I actually much prefer being burned than Toxic on this set, because it really allows me to just set up in his face of his Vaporeon or his Rotom pretty freely, or his Torkoal even, and then proceed to just go from there. And I can sometimes get this thing to +4, +5 without much issue between just roosting and Dragon Dancing against things like the Rotom or the Vaporeon if it doesn't have Ice Beam, or the Torkoal. And even with an Ice Beam Vaporeon, I will outspeed it. I will be able to roost in its face and not die to its attack. So hopefully the Mega Altaria can put in work. And finally, arguably the most important thing, the linchpin of this team, is this Mummy Coffagrigus, very specially bulky Coffagrigus, designed to, actually this is the wrong set, but it's okay. Not as especially bulky as I was hoping, but it really is designed to sit there and counter the Torkoal. I don't mind it being not as especially bulky, mostly on the grounds that it can handle the Mega Lopunny a little bit better and the Zygarde a little bit better. So there was a trade-off that I was making, and I'm okay with it being not the one that I had ended up with, but the one that I had done previously. Infestation is there to lock in the Torkoal, pretty much exclusively the Torkoal, though possibly the Victory Bell as well, possibly the Mega Lopunny, and then get rid of its Scrappy, and then be able to not take any damage from it. Toxic Spikes allows me to poison his team, which I know is super valuable to me, and then Pain Split allows for longevity on this, and it really can take some hits pretty remarkably well. And Nightshade is there for, again, if I can lock in the Torkoal with Infestation, Nightshade, and set up a couple layers of Toxic Spikes in the meantime, this thing's going to be doing exactly what I need it to be doing. So it's going to be Infestation, Toxic Spikes, Pain Split. I do naturally outspeed a Torkoal unless he's running enough investment to outspeed me, which is possible because of the fact that I also have Ferrothorn that naturally outspeeds Torkoal. And so he might be running just a little bit of speed in Torkoal. And then Nightshade for the rest of the time until the Torkoal is dead. I do win that trade pretty much all of the time. And that's the team we're running this week. This is going to be a really good game against Rio. I'm really excited for it. His team is horrifying. I always hate facing weather teams because I'm really bad at facing weather teams and isolating how to kill the weather setter and then going from there. Mega Lopunny is obviously a huge threat. Zygarde's always a huge threat. So hopefully we have answers. Hopefully we are able to get another win here in this league. I think we are in a position where we need to keep winning. So I will see you guys back in a second with that battle. So hold on to your butts. Alright everyone, this is probably not what you were expecting. It is not what I was expecting, that's for sure. But we are actually going to be doing a post-narration of a showdown battle, and the reason for that is that Rio actually couldn't find his 2DS, so we ended up battling on showdown. I decided that since I didn't have a format really ready to go or anything for the recording, I wasn't going to do a live narration. I would just post comment. This wasn't quite as drastic as the last time I did a showdown battle or anything, so it really was just that he couldn't find his 2DS, so we decided to go on showdown. Now, my problem with showdown before I get started, as I'm learning, is that I am very, very bad at staying invested. Showdown to me is where I do mock battles, It's where I do random battles to blow off steam. I really don't do competitive actual league battles. And so I have some trouble staying invested doing the calcs. I feel like almost dirty doing the calcs when I'm doing a showdown battle. I don't know why. I don't want to take too long or anything. Again, I don't know why. I don't mind when there's a timer ticking down telling me how much I've got left. And telling me that I'm staying on a reasonable pace, whereas during showdown battles, when you don't turn that on because you're being respectful to your opponent, which we didn't, then I felt bad taking long times for my turns. I wasn't really talking through them, so you'll see that here. I'm realizing I have that problem with showdown. I would always prefer to play on Wi-Fi instead of showdown, and for some reason, my team's on the top. I don't know why. This is my recording or my replay, so I have no idea. I have no idea how to work showdown. I don't know how to switch the sides. There's probably a button for it. I don't know what it is. So you're going to have to deal with the fact that my team is on the top. Now, you guys just watched that team builder. You know what we're bringing. This is the team he decided to bring. It is Minior, Mega Lopunny, Zygarde 50%, Torkoal, Victory Bell, and Jirachi. Now, real quick, the first thing that obviously I can see from this team is that his Torkoal Victory Bell core of Sun is here, which is fine. I was pretty well designed to handle the Sun. Obviously, my Ferrothorn can handle anything except for an HP Fire or maybe a Weather Ball from that Victory Bell, but otherwise is going to be pretty okay. Cofagrigus can really handle the Victory Bell pretty well. Mega Altaria, it doesn't love taking a Sludge Bomb, but again, it can handle switching into a Victory Bell to bait out a Sludge Bomb, to go into Ferro, to stall out Sun turns, stuff like that. Minior, I was really afraid of the whole time because Shell Smash is really scary, and obviously Jirachi does Jirachi things to me all the time. So that is the team that we are facing. I am going to get this battle started, and we're just going to play it out for you guys. So first turn, I don't know how to, hold on. I'm bad at this. Okay. Too fast. Slow down. So first turn, he's going to lead with his Mega Lopunny. I decided I was going to lead with my Xatu. If he did decide to lead Torkoal, then I was just going to U-turn out into my Cofagrigus. And that was designed to handle the Torkoal if it had to. And if he decided to stay in and go for an Ice Punch, I knew I could take that. Fake Out was the big scary thing to me. So if he Fake Outed, I would just go out into my Cofagrigus. I knew I could take the Fake Out very easily, but Ice Punch could not kill. And as you see, first turn, he does actually go for that Ice Punch, and it doesn't kill my Xatu, which immediately returns with a Psychic, and that is super effective against the Mega Lopunny and takes it out. Now, on this following turn, he decides to go out into the Minior, and at this point I know that he's just going to take me out if he does decide to go for any sort of attack, so I decided that I liked my Xatu being alive. It handled things like the Torkoal, a non-fast Jirachi, and Victory Bell outside of the Sun, which it was designed to outspeed, so I figured having my Xatu was very good, as well as the fact that, yes, I probably revealed that it wasn't Scarfed, but it doesn't know what item it is. So I could still be utilizing some crazy tech item. It was Assault Vested, so it was kind of useless at this point anyway. So I decided I'm just going to go out into my, I'm going to U-turn out, I'm going to go out into my Ferrothorn here, which can take on pretty much any Minior. I know he's going to Shell Smash, that's the obvious thing to do. That's fine. He's actually going to get the +2 speed, and I have Gyro Ball, and I can deal with it. He reveals that he has Hidden Power Fire, which we are EV'd to survive the Hidden Power Fire from a +2 Minior, which is perfect, so we do take that just fine. And my Ferrothorn is able to, at this point, go for a Gyro Ball and just straight take out the Minior. So we're actually up 6-4, but is it really 6-4 is the question, because my Xatu and my Ferrothorn basically have no switches left. Now, at this point, he's going to go into Zygarde. I say, nope, you are not setting up substitutes. And he's going to say, yes, I am setting up substitutes. And I'm like, excuse me, no. So I'm just going to Gyro Ball, get rid of that substitute. He's going to Dragon Dance here, which is actually really interesting to me that he would decide to go for the Dragon Dance, just because I think that the Dragon Dance, he knew I was going for Gyro Balls, and that's going to make him more vulnerable to them, but it does allow him to outspeed pretty much everything non-Scarf, actually everything non-Scarf in my team, so it makes sense in some level, and he knew he could take one Gyro Ball. He's going to be able to 1,000 arrows and take out my Ferrothorn right after that. At this point, this is possibly the biggest misplay of the entire game. I could go straight onto Cofagrigus, take 1,000 arrows, go for a Nightshade, and be fine. And I don't know if Nightshade would necessarily kill from this range, probably not, but it would bring it down to a very low amount of HP, and I would definitely break a substitute if he went for it, and I can take the 1,000 arrows just fine, and my Cofagrigus isn't that important to me. And I could also, if I wanted to, go out into my Mega Altaria, which can take 1,000 arrows as well, and then go for a Body Slam and take out the Zygarde from there. Instead, I chose to go out into my Terrakion. Terrakion is Scarfed, so I decided, you know what, let's go into my Scarfed Terrakion. I definitely outspeed. I did the calc, and I was said EQ rocks the rest of his team. I don't think he's going to sack his Zygarde here. I don't think he stays in. But even if he does, it's a pretty good roll in my favor that I will take out the Zygarde with the EQ. I leave him at 2%. He survives the EQ, which I should have just close combated. It wasn't a roll if I went for close combat, and I would have been able to just straight take out the Zygarde and not have to worry about it. I could always switch my Terrakion out and switch it back in, since Rotom Heat checks the rest of his team and is able to switch in on any of them. But instead, I straight up go for a 1,000 arrows, or he straight up goes for 1,000 arrows and takes out my Terrakion, which is super unfortunate. So next up, we have the Cofagrigus come out. He actually has the Tectonic Rage, which somehow doesn't kill. I totally didn't expect that to not kill. I definitely thought it was going to. So instead, we do take him out with a Nightshade after that, and we get a little bit of leftover recovery. It's not going to matter too much. This Cofagrigus is sitting at 17%, and again, it's another one of those, yes, I EV'd to survive it, but at what cost at this point? You know, this blow for blow thing, I do not do well with hyper offense, we all know that, but I am currently above. I'm up 4-3 right now. My Cofagrigus is really injured, but he still has the Sun Core, and as soon as that Terrakion went down with the Sun, I was pretty sure that, Rotom Heat just became the most vital thing on my team, and I had to be really careful how I played it. This almost cost me my Cofagrigus, and if that Tectonic Rage had killed my Cofagrigus, I would have lost the game right there. Nothing else was going to be able to handle this Zygarde. But instead, it does survive. I am able to go for the Nightshade and take it out. And in comes the Torkoal. Now, this is a very interesting turn. I was like, do I switch out into my Rotom and preserve my Cofagrigus for the Jirachi, so I get rid of Serene Grace? Excuse me. But then I noticed right after that he doesn't have the Sun. He actually did not put in Drought on this. He said he had it ready to gen in game with Drought, but he just miscopied it over, and so Torkoal does not have the Sun, which means Victory Bell is not actually going to be able to get its Sun boost. And as soon as I saw that, as soon as I realized that, I said, nope, Cofagrigus is staying in here. There's no real reason to preserve this. Rotom wins me the game, so why would I bring it in and potentially take damage? He actually goes for a Shell Smash on my Pain Split, so I actually get a bunch of health back. And he's going to be able to get up to +2, which is wild. Shell Smash Torkoal is crazy. Goes for a Lava Plume and brings me down. I decided to go for a Nightshade, not for another Pain Split here, because if another Pain Split was still going to leave me in the range where Lava Plume was going to take me out the following turn, and Nightshade was going to do just about as much damage, so it would actually end up in the same approximate place. He's actually a little bit lower than he would have been if I had gone for the Pain Split, so I figured Nightshade was going to be the best play. And again, he's at +2 speed, and without Terrakion to outspeed this, I'm in trouble. So he's going to be able to go for another Lava Plume and take out my Cofagrigus. But yeah, we've done 75% to the Torkoal, and I think we're in good shape. All I need to do right now is go into my Mega Altaria, go for a Dragon Dance, and then I proceed to win the game. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go into my Mega Altaria. He's going to go for the Sludge Bomb, and that Sludge Bomb leaves me at 5%. I can admit, I did not EV to survive a +2 Sludge Bomb from a Torkoal. It's just a roll that happened to go that way. And I was like, wow, that's crazy that I survived that. But he gets the poison on that Sludge Bomb. And so I've clicked Dragon Dance here. There's nothing I can do about that. The poison's going to just take me out, and I just lose Mega Altaria for literally nothing. I get no value out of it. It doesn't do anything for me. That Dragon Dance would have allowed me to come in and probably sweep, but instead it's going to be Rotom that comes in at this point. And it's not Scarf Rotom. It is in fact Electrium Z Rotom, as you might know if you watch the Team Builder. And this Rotom isn't going to be able to do much to this Torkoal. It is going to be able to take it out with a Volt Switch, but Overheat's obviously not going to do anything to this Torkoal. So I decide I have to go for Volt Switch. What choice do I have? So I'm going to go for that Volt Switch. He actually goes out into the Victory Bell, gets rid of his boost, which I was like, he may have just thrown the game a little bit right there. Not that his Victory Bell could do much to my Rotom, to be honest, but it's a weird thing to just sack off your Victory Bell to nothing right here when this is the full health thing. But I know he has the Jirachi left over, and so that is something to keep in mind. Now, since he doesn't have the Sun, his Victory Bell isn't going to be fast, and my Xatu is EV'd to always outspeed Victory Bell outside of the Sun, unless it's Scarfed. So I am able to actually just use my Xatu and go for a Psychic and take out the Victory Bell. And at this point, I'm not sure what he's going to do, but he does go out into the Jirachi, and his ability to go for whatever he wants here is really scary. He could outspeed me, but I figured I would check to see if he outspeeds me. I'm not max speed, I'm not even timid, but I decided to see, are you going to outspeed my Xatu or not? And in fact, he does, but he does go for a Healing Wish immediately. he says he's checking out that his Torkoal is the thing that's going to be his win con at this point, and so Xatu is going to be unable to do anything with a Heat Wave, and is going to be kind of lost, you know, in its own little world. So Torkoal's going to come back in. It's going to go back to full health. He's going to set up another Shell Smash after it takes 70% from a Psychic. So I figured, you know what, go for the Psychic on that Shell Smash. It's going to do the damage to bring it back down. He does survive that first hit, and he goes for a Lava Plume and takes out my Xatu. But that leaves Rotom as the last thing that he has to take down. He can't really have coverage for it. There's really nothing. HP Rock doesn't kill me. Sludge Bomb does 57% and gets the poison on the Rotom, but with the Electric Z, I don't have to worry too much about it, and I am able to take out the Torkoal. And we get the close 1-0 victory. I think had we kept Terrakion alive, had we just gone for close combat, that battle did not have to be as close as it was. I got really nervous. It ended up being a misgen on his part. I guess not a gen, just a miss, like a typo on his part, honestly, is really what it comes down to. That allowed me to take that game in the end game. But Shell Smash Torkoal, absolutely wild. I'm sorry, guys, this was on Showdown. It had to be this way, but hopefully you enjoyed the way that I was able to structure this. I'm really not familiar with Showdown or doing post-com, so this is only like my third post-com battle of all time. So please give me feedback if you think I did well, think I did poorly, what I could improve on for post-com in the future. And I will see you guys back next week as we take on the Seismitonicon minorities, miniorities. I don't even remember, like, it's wild. It's a cool name. But Tone and the Miami Malamarlins. And we are currently 6-4, which is pretty wild, on a 5-game winning streak, which is really nice, and able to hopefully get a playoff spot locked up next week with a win. Not a guarantee, sort of depends on how the other guys in the division do, but hopefully we're down to about 5 for 4 spots, and so that's a much better odd than 8 for 4 spots, I will be honest. So I'm excited that we've come back from a 1-4 start to now be 6-4 plus 9, and able to say that we have earned a possible spot in the playoffs. It is not locked up yet at all, since there are still 2 guys at 5-4 and 2 guys above me at 7 wins each. So we've got some work cut out for us, but I'm pretty excited to see what happens, and we will be back for sure next week and the following week for week 12. Hopefully that is a little joyride and we are able to just kind of coast into the playoffs, but that's obviously not a guarantee right now. We got work ahead of us. So thank you all so much for watching, and I promise that there will not be more battles on Showdown if I can help it. I really prefer battling on Wi-Fi. I definitely would have played better if I had. Thank you all so much for watching. Take care, everybody.